Greetings and welcome to another episode of Association Matters, the official PCAAE podcast for conversations on governance, leadership, and impact in the association sector. So we're your host. I'm Bobby.
And I'm Emily. And today we'll be discussing one of the topics that's close to the hearts of associations. Advocacy starts with members. Advocacy in the context of associations refers to their organised and strategic efforts to influence policies, legislation, regulations, or public opinion on a specific cause on behalf of their members. It's truly that core function that transforms the collective voice of members into actionable change, ensuring their interests are considered in the decision-making process.
So for this podcast, we will feature an Asia Pacific-wide industry association of banking and financial institutions based in Taipei. It's called the Asian Bankers Association, or ABA for short. And we're happy to be with Dr. Darson Chiu, Secretary-Treasurer of ABA.
Dr. Darson also holds simultaneously the position of Director General of the Confederation of Asia Pacific Chambers of Commerce and Industry, CACCI. Prior to taking charge of ABA's Secretariat, Dr. Darson has accumulated an extensive career from research to education to publication and industry, enriching his experience in both theory and practical realms, especially in economics and organizational management.
So, Dr. Darson, welcome, and thank you for being here. So we'll start our conversation.
Yeah.
From your point of view, what advocacies have ABA pursued over the years that have created impact to its members and to the sector? You might cite examples and stories in that regard.
Hi, Bobby and Emily. Thank you for having me. Regarding your question, I think policy advocacy is one of ABA's main roles. And through ABA, banks from different countries come together to share views, key banking and finance issues. And we turn these shared views into papers that show ABA's common position. When it is useful, we also share these views with other organizations so that the voice of Asian banks can be heard in wider policy talks. And over the years, ABA has worked on many important topics that matter to banks' daily work and long-term development. And these include bank rules such as Basel II and Basel III, accounting rules, bankruptcy and debt workouts, corporate governance, credit systems, local bond markets, credit rating agencies, and disaster readiness. All these topics may sound technical, but they affect how banks manage risk, support business, and serve customers. And let me now give a few examples of how ABA's advocacy has helped our members and the banking sector. First, cybersecurity and customer fraud. With more banking services moving online, cyber risks and fraud have become a major concern. ABA has published several papers on cyber safety. For example, the paper on cybersecurity management shares practical steps on how banks can protect their systems and their customers. And this helps member banks improve daily safety and better prepare for cyber attack and fraud. And second example is digital change and open banking. Banks are under pressure to upgrade their technology and compete with new digital players. ABA has shared views on how banks can modernize their systems while also managing new risks from digital banking. And this helps banks move forward with digital change in a safer and more balanced way. And third, support for small businesses after the COVID-19. And during and after the pandemic, many small firms face serious problems. ABA share real cases from member banks and how they can help small businesses recover. And this includes fixing disrupted supply chains and helping firms go digital. And this shows that ABA's advocacy is not only about bank rules, but also about helping the real economy recover and grow. Fourth, green finance and climate issues. ABA has papers on green finance and climate risks This helps banks understand how to support sustainable development and move step by step toward ESG and climate goals. So taken together, these advocacy efforts help banks learn from each other, improve daily practice, and respond to how risks and big changes in the financial sector can be coped with. Thank you.
Wow, that's quite an achievement, and it really sounds like you're really bringing the banking sector together. Dr. Darson, our next question is, what does ABA carry, how does ABA carry on its advocacies from the standpoint of its board and leadership? Can you elaborate on the vetting and implementation process?
Yeah, thank you for the question. From the board and leadership side, ABA carries out in advocacy work in structured and practical way. First, ABA has set up a special group called Policy Advocacy Committee, and this committee includes members of the ABA board and banking and finance experts from member institutions. The board gives overall direction and support, while the committee takes charge of the real work in advocacy. Secondly, the committee identifies key issues that matter to banks and the financial sector. And these are usually issues that affect banks across many countries, such as technology change, cybersecurity, fraud risks, AI, and climate risks. The committee then agrees on main themes and priorities for each year. For example, in its 2025 annual reporting, ABA shows that the committee met and approved a work plan with clear focus areas such as technology upgrades, cyber safety and fraud, AI, net zero banking, and climate change. This shows that ABA's advocacy is guided by leadership priorities, not done in an ad hoc way. And third, ABA follows a clear drafting and vetting process. Member banks and partners groups prepare and present papers based on real experience and data. And these draft papers are first presented in committee meetings. Committee members then discuss them, raise questions, and suggest changes. And after this discussion, the papers are improved and finalized. And once all agreed, they become official ABA position or policy papers. And finally, ABA focuses on implementing and sharing. The final papers are published on ABA's website, so member banks can use them as a practical guidance. And when it is useful, ABA also shares these papers with regional and global groups and with policy makers and regulators. In this way, ABA's advocacy does not stop at discussion. It turns ideas into clear standpoints, positions, and then brings these views into real policy dialogue and daily banking practice.
Wow,
I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, fantastic. It's really, as you said, from ideas to implementation. That's wonderful. So our third and final question, Dr. Dawson, is moving forward, what do you think are the new advocacy opportunities that ABA is looking at in the immediate future?
That's a very good question. Looking ahead, ABA's 2026 work program points to 5 key advocacy areas where banks across Asia are facing fast change, real pressure, and shared challenges. And these are also areas where ABA can help members move forward in a more coordinated and practical way. The first one, fraud prevention and cybersecurity. As digital banking expands, cyber fraud, scam networks, and mule accounts are rising across borders. ABA sees a strong role in promoting regional cooperation, such as information sharing, fraud technologies, best practices in prevention and recovery, and closer public-private collaboration. From an advocacy perspective, ABA can help shape a more coordinated regional framework and strengthen digital trust and consumer protection. And the second is ethical use and AI in banking. AI is now moving from pilot projects into real operations. From customer service to risk management and compliance, ABA is encouraging members to share experiences on how to use AI responsibly, covering issues such as transparency, explainability, data protection, and bias mitigation. At the same time, ABA can serve as a platform for dialogue with regulators so that emerging AI rules are practical, risk-based, and supportive of innovation rather than creating uncertainties for banks. And the third, green and sustainable transition finance. While climate goals are rising on the global agenda, ABA recognizes the bank in emerging economies facing different development realities. ABA therefore supports realistic and phased frameworks with emphasis on transition finance and common ground taxonomy. This allows banks to support clients moving forward lower carbon activities without disrupting growth. ABA is also exploring cooperation with international mechanisms such as climate finance platforms to help mobilize resources for the region. And fourth, movable asset finance. Access to credit remains a key issue for SMEs like real estate collateral. ABA is promoting knowledge sharing on how movable assets such as inventory, equipment, or receivables can be used to expand financing access. And this includes sharing policy experiences and legal frameworks that our governments have adopted to make movable finance workable in practice. And finally, cross-border payments. Cross-border payments are being reshaped by new technologies. ABA can support initiatives toward faster, cheaper, and more transparent payment systems across the Asia-Pacific region, including harmonized standards and stronger correspondent banking linkages among member banks. So in short, these 5 areas, cybersecurity and fraud, ethical AI, green and transition finance, movable finance, and cross-border payments are all moving very fast, and they bring both opportunities and challenges. ABA's role is to help members learn from each other, develop shared positions, and also engage policymakers with more united and credible voices. Thank you.
Wonderful. It sounds like it's going to be a very productive 2026. You have lots happening.
Yeah.
Lot of work.
Yeah, lots of work, lots ahead. Thank you, Dr. Darson, for your insights. As always, we'll wrap up with 3 key takeaways for our viewers. The first one was strong advocacy starts with listening to members and turning their shared experiences into one unified voice. Through ABA, banks across Asia transform real-world challenges from cybersecurity and digital transformation to green finance and SME recovery into position papers and practical guidance that strengthens both individual institutions and the broader financial systems. The second is effective advocacy is not accidental. It is structured, disciplined, and leadership driven. ABA's board and policy advocacy committee identify priority issues, rigorously vet policy papers, and transform technical expertise into clear, credible positions that influence regulators, guide members, and shape real-world banking practices. And the third one that I heard there was the future of advocacy lies in helping members navigate those rapid transformations together, from ethical AI to cybersecurity to sustainable finance and those cross-border payments. ABA ensures its members are not facing disruption alone, but moving forward with shared insights, coordination, and a stronger collective voice. And I believe that's something that's only possible when organizations come together through associations like ABA.
Wonderful. And again, thank you, Dr. Darson, for joining us. And we learned a lot, and I hope the audience also would learn a lot. So thank you again for joining us in the Association Matters podcast, where governance, leadership, and impact come together. This podcast is brought to you by the Philippine Council of Associations and Association Executives and by Members AMS.
Subscribe to our podcast and visit the PCAAE website for updates and full episode notes. Until next time.
Bye.